The House will come to order. Prayer by the chaplain.
Our great God and Father, may we acknowledge you and pray, even as Nebuchadnezzar, the ancient king of Babylon, prayed, saying, "At the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted my eyes to heaven, and my reason returned to me, and I blessed the Most High, and praised and honored him who lives forever. For your dominion is an everlasting dominion. Your kingdom endures from generation to generation, and all the inhabitants of the earth are counted as nothing. And you do according to your will among the hosts of heaven and among the inhabitants of the earth. And none can stay your hand or say to you, 'What have you done?' At the same time my reason returned to me, and for the glory of my kingdom my majesty and my splendor returned to me. My counselors and my kings sought me, and I was established in my kingdom. And still more greatness was added to me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven, for all his works are right, and his ways are just, and those who walk in pride he is also able to humble. So, dear Lord, I ask that you would give hearing ears to these our elected leaders, that they would hear what you are saying to the great state of Minnesota, that you would grant wisdom, strength, and courage unto them, and that they may lead this state in righteousness for your name's sake. I also ask that you would bless and protect them and their families, and reward them for their sacrifice in willing to serve we the people of Minnesota. In your great name I pray. Amen.
The chaplain for today is Reverend Tom Numland from Bethel Fellowship Church, Minneota, Minnesota. Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing and recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk will take the roll. The clerk will close the roll. Quorum is present. The clerk will read the journal of the preceding day.
Journal of the House, 89th session, 27th day, St. Paul, Minnesota, Thursday, March 12th, 2015.
If there's no objection, further reading of the journal will be dispensed with, and the journal will be approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Hearing no objection, the journal is approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Reports of standing committees and divisions. A copy of this order of business has been placed on each member's desk. If there's no objection, the reports will be adopted. Hearing no objection, the reports are adopted. Second reading of House files.
Second reading House File number 216.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 372.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 450.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 501.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 718.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 830.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 1036.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 1193.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 1365.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 1434.
Second reading. Introduction of bills. The following House files have been offered for introduction today. The chief clerk will report the House files and give them their first reading.
Introduction and first reading of House Files 1851 through 1936.
First reading, House Files 1851 through 1936. Calendar for the day. The first bill on the calendar for the day is House File 794. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 794, number 1 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to surveying.
I recognize the bill author from Stearns, Representative O'Driscoll, to introduce the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. House File 794 is a bill that is a collaboration between the public surveyors, being those who are employed by counties, and private surveyors to clarify statutory language changes and conflicts in the statute, as well as provide for some technological changes and how corners are maintained to clarify conflicts in state statute on these matters as well. Mr. Speaker, I do have an author's amendment that I would like to offer, the A1 amendment today. And this comes out of some work that was done here in the House in the State Government Finance Committee. And so, Mr. Speaker, if we'd like to offer that amendment today.
There is an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
O'Driscoll moves to amend House File number 794 as follows, and the amendment is coded A1.
The member from Stearns, Representative O'Driscoll, to your amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The amendment, as I had referenced before, it was reported, was some work that we had done in the State Government Finance Committee here in the House. There were some questions and clarifications that were needed on Minnesota Statute 515, as well as the Registered Lands Survey Statute. And simply what it does is provide some clarification on the repealers and the language. The good news is that this amendment and change was caught before it went to the Senate. They've also taken the same amendment that I'm offering today, so they pass it off the Senate floor. And if we pass it today with this amendment, it will be identical language, and we will then be able to avoid a conference committee. So, Mr. Speaker, I'd ask for member support on the A1 amendment.
Discussion on the amendment. Any discussion on the A1 amendment? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of adoption of the A1 amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The motion prevails and the amendment is adopted. Discussion on the bill as amended. Seeing no discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the bill. Oh, sorry. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading House File number 794 as amended.
Third reading. Any further discussion on the bill? No. The clerk will take the roll on the bill. The clerk will close the roll. Pinto votes aye. Atkins votes aye. There being 129 ayes and 0 nays, the bill is adopted and its title agreed to. The next bill on the calendar for today is Senate File 578. The clerk will report the bill.
Senate File number 578, number 2 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to trusts.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Hortman, to introduce your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this is an update to the Minnesota Trust Code. It's been 25 years since the law has been updated. It matches Minnesota's trust code to the latest edition of the Uniform Trust Code. The amendments have been adopted in 30 states. Minnesota's probate lawyers have spent the last 4 years going through the act to make sure that it can conform to Minnesota law appropriately. And the probate and trust section of the Minnesota Bar Association supports passage. I'd appreciate your support.
There are no amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, Senate File number 578.
Third reading. Discussion on the bill. Any discussion on the bill? Seeing no discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the bill. The clerk will close the roll. There being 128 ayes and 0 nays, the bill is passed and its title agreed to. Motions and resolutions. There are copies of the non-controversial motions online and at the House desk. If there's no objection, we'll take action on these motions first. Hearing no objection, the motions prevail.
Clark moves that House File number 153 be recalled from the Committee on Agricultural Policy and be re-referred to the Committee on Agriculture Finance. It's Clark. It's Clark. Yep, there she is.
I recognize the member from Hennepin, Representative Clark, to your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could we just temporarily postpone this? I'm talking with one of the chairmen who wants to get a clarification.
There is another motion at the desk. The clerk will report the motion.
Swazinski moves that House File number 1745 be recalled from the Committee on Job Growth and Energy Affordability Policy and Finance and be re-referred to the Committee on Government Operations and Elections Policy.
The member from Lyon, Representative Swedzinski, to your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this bill is relating to solar generation, siting, setback standards, and other permitting areas for solar, and talked to both chairs, and we're good to go.
Any discussion on the Swedzinski motion? The member from Hennepin, Representative Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And would Representative Swedzinski stand for question?
He will yield. Representative Nelson.
Representative Swedzinski, what's going to be the path of this? Is it going to end up back in job growth and energy, or is it just going to go up out of GovOps forward from there? and why is it going to GovOps?
Representative Swedzinski.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Nelson, yes, the goal of this bill is to essentially retrace, go to GovOps, get heard there, and then come back to Jobs and Energy. The primary reason was that we have a local control portion of the bill that they felt that they should be touching on, and that's why it's going to go there.
Representative Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any further discussion on the Swedzinski motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. The motion prevails. Announcements. The member from Ramsey, Representative Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise this afternoon to let people know that there's a little event going on right now. One of our staff people is organizing the opportunity to collect food for those who are hungry in the area. We have got an opportunity that right now in Minnesota that we have about 1 in 10 people in Minnesota are at a point where they risk missing a meal. And so we are working with Second Harvest Heartland, a nonprofit in my district, to help raise food and collect non-perishable goods. The collection is happening on second floor. Amanda Rudolph is heading it up. It's office number 237A, and that'll be going on throughout the week. So if you'd like to bring in non-perishables throughout the week and bring it to 237A, that'd be great and really help those who could use a meal. Thank you.
Any further announcements? The member from Sherburne, Representative Knobloch.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to a point of personal privilege.
State your point of personal privilege.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to, as many people know, but for those who don't, inform the body that St. Cloud State University has won its first national championship ever in wrestling. So please help me recognize the Huskies.
Any further announcements? The member from Hennepin, Representative Pepin.
Mr. Speaker, I move that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 12:15 p.m. on Tuesday, March 17th, 2015.
Representative Pepin moves that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 12:15 p.m. on Tuesday, March 17th, 2015. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion prevails. Representative Pepin.
I move that the House do now adjourn.
Representative Pepin moves that the House do now adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion prevails, and the House stands adjourned until 12:15 p.m. on Tuesday, March 17th, 2015. Go ahead.